Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Desk. Today is Wednesday. It is the third day of June, and we've got a great show lined up for you as we tackle today's top weather headlines. A lot going on here locally with issues at the coast, including a big story down in Buxton, southern part of the Outer Banks. Another home collapses as we've been dealing with some really rough surf, some beach erosion that led to that house collapse. We'll show you that. We'll give you a detailed look. We're going to zoom in and show you specifically which house it was that collapsed, and we'll take you in there with our weather map, show you exactly what's going on. We do have more rough surf today. Beach flags are flying. We're going to explain what the various colors of the beach flags mean coming up, and we're going to talk some more about the rip currents. We've been talking about that high threat of rip currents, how dangerous they can be. We've got a story on that. We'll talk about what to do if you are caught up in a rip current. You take a look here. We also have our tropical weather update. Atlantic Basin not looking too bad right now. There are a couple things I'm watching in the Atlantic Basin, nothing that's showing immediate signs of development. But over in the Pacific, there's not one, not two, but three areas that are starting to fire up. One could become our first named system, and I'm waiting to see if that happens this morning. We'll keep an eye to that. I'll show you exactly where that is. We're going to talk about a mudslide in Japan, and we've got another update on the cave rescues going on over in Laos. So stay tuned for more on that. In addition, we do have a serious warming trend coming up as we finish out the week for Hampton Roads. We're going to talk about how long this heat wave is going to last. It builds later this week. And when will it rain? I've got some wet weather in the forecast as we go extended. I'll talk about that coming up. Right now, though, it is gorgeous here in Hampton Roads. Low humidity, very comfortable, and we have a lot of sunshine. I'm going to come back to the severe weather threats, talk about that outlook a little bit later in the show as well. But let's start off by focusing on what's been going on along the Outer Banks and our local waters. We've had the northeast winds that were so strong yesterday, north and northeast winds really churning up the seas, and we've had the rough conditions that are leading to the rip current threat, but also beach erosion. And I'm taking you back down here to Buxton because there was another home along Ocean Drive. You see these homes. This is from Google Maps basically here looking Ocean Drive, and I believe as I did a check on the address and pulled this up on Google Maps, it was this home right here, vacant at the time of the collapse, but just wanting to let you know that was the home that collapsed. Now, this is a look at it. Again, this happened on Ocean Drive down in Buxton last night. We have some video we can show you. It is now one of more than 20 homes to collapse on that stretch of the beach. So you see what's going on there, some of the aerials, and just heartbreaking to see that. And this has all happened just within the last few years. You're looking at previous video of those collapses right now. Park officials say debris from the latest collapse is scattered along the shoreline, creating hazardous conditions in the water and on the beach. Cape Hatteras National Seashore is now urging visitors to avoid the beach from Buxton south to Cape Point area, the Cape Point area there. Several beach access points are also temporarily closed while rangers assess the damage. So when one of these homes collapses, it leads to all kinds of trouble with the debris. Just you think about like the building materials out there in the surf kind of washing back and forth, and swimmers, you need to avoid that. There could be all kinds of construction material for a while until they can get that cleaned up. All right, you take a look at where the red flags are flying, and this is all the way down past Hatteras and Ocracoke, heading down to Beaufort. There is a stretch here of moderate rip current risk between Beaufort and back towards Wilmington, but that southern tip there of North Carolina, that area under the high risk as well. The risk is moderate off to the north. As far as our waters go here in Virginia Beach, you can see we also have the rough surf conditions. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, but there's still a high threat of rip currents, and I wanted to show you some of the various looks. This is down at Corova. Again, this is just south of Knott's Island. This is the view from the Oregon Inlet. This is a live cam that feeds, and it's constantly moving around. You can see some of the ocean, and sometimes they swing it around and show you part of the sound. This is down in Edenton. This area is protected. It's on the sound, so you don't see the rough conditions there. But it is certainly rougher along the ocean waters down towards the Oregon Inlet and south towards Buxton. We're going to take a look now at Virginia Beach, and I mentioned we do have the rough surf here as well. This Thompson Creek Window Company sky view, it is gorgeous. You see the sun there. A lot of folks out along the beach, but you don't see anybody out in the water, and that's because we have red flags. They've been flying across our beaches here locally this week due to that increased risk of rip currents. Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson explains what the various flags mean for beachgoers.
The city of Virginia Beach sent out this alert, stating that red flags are raised at local beaches and urging potential beachgoers to avoid swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. Understanding the meaning of the different beach warning flag colors can help keep you safe in and around the water. A green flag indicates calm water conditions. While no ocean is completely risk-free, this flag signals the lowest level of hazard. The yellow flag means use caution. Moderate winds and choppier surf conditions are present. When a red flag is flying, as it is today, the flag is a sign of dangerous water conditions. High surf and strong rip currents exist. From time to time, you may also spot a purple flag. This does not relate to surf or winds. Instead, this flag warns swimmers of dangerous marine life in the area. The most serious beach warning is double red flags. When two red flags are flying, the water is officially closed to the public because the conditions are considered too dangerous. Before heading into the water, always check the beach warning flags and listen to lifeguards and local officials. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.
All right, so again, we're looking at our beach conditions. Red flags are up, so they don't want folks going in. Looks like a couple people wading into the surf there. The lifeguards may be talking to them. They don't want them going out, deep at all. They don't want them getting out there, but you do see a couple people kind of starting to wade in about ankle deep, and you get a better feel when you see people at how large some of those waves are out there. As far as the beach forecast goes today, we will continue to see that high threat of rip currents. It is not nearly as windy as it was yesterday, so that's good news. The waves will eventually calm down. They've already calmed in the Chesapeake Bay, and some of the the sounds are looking a lot better, but the ocean water's still churned up. We're going to see a lot of sunshine. My concern today for beachgoers, yesterday it was cooler. Yes, it was sunny, but it was cooler and it was windy, so there weren't as many people interested in going out to the beaches. Today, with it being a little bit warmer, not as windy, there will likely be more folks heading out to the water, and again, they need to listen to lifeguards and avoid going in with this high threat of rip currents. UV index very high today as well. Water temperatures mid-60s and the surf height 2 to 5 feet. Now, I want to talk to you about rip currents, and we're going to get into what these are, but to really drive home the seriousness of rip currents, I want to talk to you about the women's basketball coach at UNC Wilmington. She's sharing her story after she got caught in a rip current and nearly died trying to save her 8-year-old nephew. 41-year-old Nicole Woods was on a family trip in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina last month when her niece and nephew ran out to the shore to play in the water. That's when Woods saw a powerful wave knock her nephew off balance, pulling him under. She went in after him.
I had just gotten up to the shore not too long before I saw Noah get hit by a wave. I always tell him not to turn his back to the waves, and just one particular time, it was almost like a perfect storm. I saw it hit him and, just kind of knock him off his balance, and then I saw the tide taking him out. I rushed out just because I didn't want him to get pulled out any further. I just remember thinking, like, nothing can happen to my nephew. He's got to save Noah. And I remember going under to push him towards the gentleman that was coming. And that's the last thing I remember.
Wow, quite a story. Rescuers pulled Woods and her nephew out. It took 5 minutes of chest compressions and an AED to bring her pulse back. She was taken to the hospital and the coach was put on a ventilator before she was able to breathe on her own the next morning. She spent 24 hours on that ventilator. Here's what you need to do, again, if you're caught in rip currents. We're going to talk about this again. When the waves break near the shorelines, the water piles up. As the water pulls back out, it can pick up a little bit of speed. Now, these are narrow channels here. These are strong, narrow currents that move from the beach outward through the surf zone. So you've got this water building up and then pushing back out. And again, these rip currents can reach speeds 1 to 2 feet per second. So you think about that, 1/1000, you know, that's moving out pretty good pace. If you think about that, some have been measured as much as 8 feet per second. Could you imagine in 1 second time being pulled out this quickly? I mean, that is something. So very, very dangerous there. Now, you don't want to fight the current. Your natural inclination may be to swim back into the beach, but that's where swimmers get in trouble. What you want to do, if you can, float or relax and go with the current until it weakens, or until, if you're able to, you swim parallel to the beach, and you'll get out of that current and escape, and you can then get back into shore. All right, we're going to take a short break. Right after that, we're going to be back with the tropical weather outlook. We've got something brewing in the Pacific, maybe our first named system. That in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Time for the tropical weather outlook. We'll start off in the Atlantic. We've got some unsettled weather far to our southeast offshore. You see that. We're enjoying the sunshine now, but there are some areas with some rain down to the southeast, well southeast of Hatteras as well. Not tropical. That's good news. There's an old frontal boundary area of low pressure kind of riding along that, but it's not posing a threat to our area. In the Gulf, the western Gulf's pretty quiet. We have seen some areas of convection, thunderstorms blossoming, but nothing that is organizing, nothing that's showing any signs of circulation or anything trying to close in. So not too worried about that. Across the Caribbean, it is clear. The main development region looks good as well. So in the Atlantic Basin, we're still good. There's no tropical development expected over the next 7 days. Let's talk about the Pacific, because that is a different situation. We've got an area here that we're monitoring off the coast of Nicaragua, just south of San Salvador. There's likely going to be some potential development in this area off the southern and southwestern coast of Mexico. And then as we take a look beyond these areas right here, we've got this area, which is likely to become a mandate. Amanda, you can see more convection near the center. We're even starting to look at what looks like maybe a little bit of venting with some of these storms in a clockwise direction. So that's telling me there's higher pressure aloft. We've got some convection, low-level circulation starting to show up. That is our first tropical depression, and it's already looking good. So I would say maybe at 11 o'clock this morning or 2 o'clock this afternoon, it's possible we could get our first tropical storm of the season. They may hold off, but we'll see what the Hurricane Center says with that next update. Here's what we have as of the mid-morning here on Wednesday, a 50% chance for development with these showers and storms, again, west of Nicaragua, south of San Salvador. As they move up, could produce some heavier rains right along the coast there. And another area, just a 20% chance of development, that area just south of the Mexican coast there in the Pacific. So those are the two areas. This is a depression. Number 1E in the Pacific, likely to become Tropical Storm Amanda, gaining some strength through early Friday and then eventually kind of winding down. This thing is so far away from Hawaii. I wanted to show you that very quickly. You can see still 1,755 miles away. So there's nothing threatening the U.S. right now, but now is the time to prepare for the tropical season before a storm or hurricane impacts us. Here's what you can do right now. First, always know your risk. Get familiar with your home's vulnerability to storm surge, flooding, and wind. You should also put together an emergency kit with water, non-perishable food, medicine, and flashlights. Always a good idea to have those on hand. Next, develop an evacuation plan in case you need to leave, and make sure you know where your important documents are. Finally, when a storm approaches, always listen to local officials and be prepared to act. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, the clock is ticking for divers in Laos as they work to rescue 2 men still trapped inside a flooded cave. What's complicating the mission? Welcome back to the Weather Desk. We're going to take a look at what's going on in the Western Pacific here. I mentioned this could become Amanda, the first tropical storm in the Eastern Pacific. I'll tell you what, folks in Japan have been dealing with a tropical system. What was a typhoon, now a tropical storm, as I believe it's Changmi passed very close to Japan. Let's zoom in and take a look. And again, with that radar, you can see the center of it, or the satellite images, the center of it passing just south of Japan, but it produced a lot of rain. So there was this mudslide in Japan, and it brought travel to a standstill. Take a look. The mudslide, again, was triggered by heavy rain from that tropical storm as it went by. The debris covered a rail line in the eastern part of the country, and crews have been working round the clock to clear it. Now, this is a look at the rainy conditions that system brought to Tokyo. The storm has already cut power to nearly 60,000 homes, and evacuation advisories have been issued in 8 regions across the country. All right, so we'll turn our attention from Japan back to Laos, where rescue crews are still working to rescue the last 2 people trapped inside a cave. It's been 2 weeks since heavy rain and flooding trapped those miners who entered the cave in search of gold. 5 have been rescued so far. It's a race against time to locate the last 2 men. Crews have been pumping water out of the cave, but rain is complicating the mission. Divers from Thailand, Finland, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, France, and Australia are also helping with the effort. Several of those divers previously took part in a 2018 cave rescue in Thailand, helping save 12 schoolboys and their soccer coach from a flooded cave. All right, we're going to take a quick live look outside. That's from the Jordan Bridge overlooking the Elizabeth River and back towards Norfolk. We're going to take another break. When we come back, I'll have the outlook for Hampton Roads. Good morning. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. You can see as we look nationally, things are very quiet for most of the eastern U.S. There's some unsettled weather down in Florida, South Florida there, and we have the potential for some more rough weather across the central and north central part of the country. A little bit of rain producing some issues over North Texas, and actually a couple flood warnings down farther to the south. Most of the west coast and the southwest U.S. in pretty good shape. Let's talk severe weather potential. You can see down around West Texas, El Paso, into southern parts of New Mexico. Also the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma into western Kansas, Nebraska, and up into South Dakota. The southeast part of North Dakota and western Minnesota, they're under this level 2 or slight risk. It's this area here I really want to focus on because South Dakota and areas in North Dakota south of Fargo, you do have this elevated risk for tornadoes, and the hashes mean there could be some stronger tornadoes at that, EF2 or greater. So that threat really from Pierre back over to Aberdeen and then up towards Fargo. We'll keep an eye to things there. Now, as far as Hampton Roads weather goes, we don't have to worry about tornadoes or storms. In fact, we could use some wet weather. You see we're 4.57 inches below average. Yesterday's high was 69, well below the average high this time of year, which is 82. We've got the sunshine. We have the low humidity right now. Take a look at these dew points in the 40s and low 50s. So it's very comfortable when you step outside. We've got another dry day tomorrow, Thursday, with low humidity. The humidity starts to build, but the temperatures are jumping up this weekend as well. We're talking about highs into the 90s. I want to talk about this heat wave that's coming and the warming trend certainly through the weekend. After that, Monday, we catch a break again, back to average and a little bit below average. So again, we've got the heat wave coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's not going to last all that long. Temperatures will get warm again by the following end of the week and into that next weekend. As we take a look ahead, out 8 to 14 days, shower chances likely down across the southeast, above average precipitation there, and in the north central U.S. Much of the country may be a little wetter than normal, and that includes Hampton Roads, so a little more unsettled weather farther down the road. Temperatures generally warm between 611 and 617. So the middle of June certainly looking to be warm right now. Want to let you know tree pollen and mold are low. You can see grass pollen is moderate today. As we look at our temperatures right now, we're in the upper 60s to low 70s. We will see warmer conditions than yesterday with those temperatures climbing up into the mid to upper 70s, some inland areas in the low 80s. Overnight tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow, more sunshine for the region. A beautiful day. We are going to find the winds shifting around to the south, and that means a bigger warm-up coming as we get to the weekend. So again, temperatures ranging upper 70s to low 80s across the area, those warmer readings inland. It will be cooler at the Outer Banks. Overnight tonight, the lows down around 61, mainly clear. Tomorrow's high back up to 80, and now the rest of the forecast. I expect dry conditions through Saturday and Sunday. We're going to come close to the record high on Saturday with the high there near 96. Cooler with rain chances coming up Monday into Tuesday. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Weather Desk. Again, the best thing to do, stay in touch with our forecast with our 13 News Now mobile app. You can always get radar updates and more information there.